My name is Ginger Williams-Carr. I am an admissions counselor with the Ohio State Newark campus, and I am joined by Ashley Moore, who will be helping us out here in just a minute talking about her learning communities. But I just wanted to kind of get you started. One thing we do ask, please click the Q&A button tonight for questions. We do have some people on there that are going to help answer questions. Tracy will be answering questions for me, as well as Macy's helping out a little bit with Ashley on some of these. We are going to be talking about our welcome admissions and next steps. Then I will turn it over to Ashley for the learning communities, and then we will do a Q&A at the end if we don't get your questions answered through the presentation. So we're going to start with some of our next steps with our enrollment process. We have some important dates coming up here, and some of them do apply to today's presentation. Our next Buckeye Bound event will be April 3rd for admitted students. April 15th is when we have the Honors and Lefevre Fellows programs deadlines. I will speak about those here in just a minute. And then May 1st is the Learning Communities deadline, and Ashley will speak more about that here in just a second. So students' responsibilities. So if you have paid your acceptance fee, we need to make sure that you are checking your Buckeye mail. Lots of things are starting to come out this month, and it's very important that your student is checking their Buckeye mail because they will be getting those bits of information, and they need to relay that information to you as well. So make sure your student is able to access their Buckeye mail. If they have not paid their acceptance fee and they're planning on enrolling on our campus, you may pay that online through our application center. The to-do list is in their Buckeye link, and there are starting to get several items on that to-do list right now. So please make sure they are checking that Buckeye link for their to-do list. If students are interested in housing, letters should be going out, or I should say emails should be going out March 13th about the housing lottery. So if your child is looking to live on our campus, please have them start looking for that email coming out on Friday. And then to register and attend orientation, emails have gone out to students who have paid their acceptance fees, and orientations are starting the last week of May this year. So there are a few dates that have rolled out for that already. So please, if you have paid your acceptance fee, have your child check for that email in order to get signed up for orientation. So we want to talk about how we want to build our Buckeye community, and that's one of the things that Ashley is going to speak about tonight with the learning communities. But we want to get involved on campus. Even though our campus is mainly a commuter campus, we have lots of ways to get involved on campus, whether it be clubs and organizations, service learning projects, intramural sports. The intramural sports on our campus vary depending on the students on campus and what they're involved in at the time. We have lots of multicultural and faith-based programs. Our student government, which is kind of similar to what your child might think of as being with student council or that type of thing. And then we have lots of fun activities to do on campus during the day and in the evening. There's movie nights. They have a game room on campus. They'll have game night some nights. There's trivia nights. Behind our dorms, we have a beach volleyball court. They can do those type of things. So there's lots of things for our students to do on campus, whether they live here or not. They can still be involved in the organization and the campus community. So our honors program is for seniors that have a 3.6 GPA or higher. That application is due by April 15th, as I showed on the timeline. The benefits for this is preferential access to the study abroad program, which Ashley will be talking about a little bit with one of the programs. We do have a private study lounge. Our students sometimes are able to get early access or preferential access to signing up for classes when it's that time of year to sign up for classes, and the honors distinction on their diploma. They also may gain membership to the Laurel Collegiate Society, which is what you might be familiar with National Honor Society at the high school setting. Lefevre Fellows program is a community based program for community services. Again, that application deadline is April 15th. Students will do a service learning course, and they will have 30 semester hours of community service that they will be doing through our campus. There is a stipend for that students would get a stipend of $1,250 each semester. That can be used for various things like books and other things that they may have within the campus setting. So your pathway to your degree, you can complete 7 majors here on our Newark campus. Business management, education, which for the primary students, English, engineering technology. Engineering technology is only available on the regional campuses. History, psychology, and social work. The advantage of coming to a regional campus is that the average class size is only about 28 students to 1. Our professors actually do teach the courses. We do not have any teaching assistants on campus. We actually had some of our faculty speak at our Buckeye Preview Day this past weekend that had taught on the Columbus campus and really liked teaching on our regional campus because they actually get to know their students in that smaller class setting. Lots of our faculty are committed to research, and our students as early as freshmen can get into research programs here on our campus. And our faculty also has a support for student success. We do offer various study. We have a math lab and a writer's lab that will help students, as well as tutoring center here on campus to help students as well. Because only 7 majors can be completed here on campus, most of our students do transition to Columbus. Basically, it's a campus change. So once you're an Ohio State student, you're an Ohio State student. We are just going to campus change or transition to the Columbus campus. That has to come after 30 credit hours after high school graduation. They need to have an average of a 2.0 GPA, and then they complete the campus change process. That guarantees a spot on the Columbus campus, but please be aware that depending on what major or field that they want to go into, there may be different requirements for that. So they may need to check that. They may have to have a higher GPA or other requirements to get involved in those on the Columbus campus. So they will meet with their academic advisor and they will work through those as well. Just to update on some upcoming virtual events that we will be having. Next week, we will be talking with financial aid about scholarships. On April 7th, housing will be talking specifically about the housing lottery that will be coming up for students that are interested in living on campus. And then April 16th, Student Success Office will be talking about other things that they offer as well. If you're interested in any of those, you can sign up at go.osu.edu/visit Newark. So that is my part of the presentation. So I am going to kind of switch over and let Ashley kind of take over here so that she can do her part of the presentation. Thank you so much. If you have questions about the admissions process, please drop them in that Q&A, and I will make sure that either Tracy or I answer those questions. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Ashley, and thank you, Ginger, for going over all of that. There's a lot of exciting things coming up and a lot on the Newark campus to get involved in. So through my office, I work with the Office of Retention Student Success Initiatives. We'll actually be presenting on April 16th again with the Center for Student Success to tell you a little bit more about everything we do under our office. But I work as an academic success coach. We have 4 on campus, so we're a pretty small department alongside with our director. And our goal is pretty much to get you connected on campus any way that we can and support you mentally, physically, academically, in any way that is going to help you be successful and get to graduation and the GPA you want and the goals that you would like to achieve, accomplish during your time, specifically at the Newark campus. So to give you a little bit more of a backstory on me, I'm an Ohio State Newark grad. I went there all 4 years. I majored in psychology with a minor in sociology, and I was really involved on campus. I myself didn't really know or get involved with the learning communities during my first year, but in hindsight, and I think about this quite a bit within my role, I wish I had known and applied sooner because our learning communities are such a great program on campus. I have been working with our learning communities for the last 6 years professionally. And then before that, I actually worked as one of our academic peer coaches within the role. And I'll tell you a little bit more about what that entails later on for 3 additional years. So a lot of time spent with our learning communities within our office, and it's something I'm extremely passionate about. So part of why I came back after I graduated to get more involved. And another exciting thing is that I do have two of our newer learning communities that I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about today. So I'm excited to go into depth and share more things. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the box because I'm happy to answer those at the end too. So with our learning communities, we have several on campus. We have our Buckeye Generation Learning Community, our Scarlet and Gray Excellence Learning Community, our Global Citizens Learning Community, our Education Teaching Learning Community, Engineering, STEM M, and then our Business Learning Community. All of these programs are specifically designed to support different students from similar backgrounds, interests, majors. I'm waiting till the end to kind of go over our major specific ones for those of you that might be interested and talk a little bit more about our broader ones at the start. Before I get into our learning communities, one of the things I like to share with people, specifically if you've gone to like a Buckeye Preview Day or any other admissions events, or if you've just seen any general learning community information, is we know through research, over 10 years of research just on the Newark campus, but even on other campuses and other colleges, students who are involved in a learning community or involved in extracurricular activities at all on any campus have higher GPAs and graduation rates. So what we really want to do is we are really working towards this goal to get pretty much anyone who starts on the Newark campus in a learning community. While right now I'm overseeing all of our learning communities with the help from some of our staff members on campus, we are expanding that and hiring someone here over summer to oversee some of our major specific learning communities. So we are continuing to expand, and I'm really excited about that. So for those of you that are planning on attending here in the fall, I'll mention our deadline again, but it's May 1st. So please keep a lookout. If there's any of these that are of interest to you, I definitely recommend applying as soon as possible. So what do students get? Outside of some of those things that I just mentioned, being a part of a learning community, while our campus is pretty small, it makes the campus community a lot more supportive and a lot more smaller. And that way you have that kind of circle of support on all ends, from faculty, staff, your peer support, and you always know where to go to. So I'll talk more about those benefits on the next slide when we start with our Buckeye Generation Learning Community. Oh, sorry, I was wrong slide, but our expectations of students. So while you're in a learning community, our learning communities look a little bit different compared to some other campuses. So I'll explain a little bit about that. Our Columbus campus has living learning communities. So you live in housing and take part in a learning community. Since we're mostly a commuter campus, we have expectations that students are going to be taking similar courses across the year. I get a lot of questions, and some of you might have this question tonight, but are these courses that we're enrolling you in helping towards your major? Are you going to have to take anything that doesn't count towards your major, and all of those kind of similar questions I'll kind of bunch together. If anyone has anything that they'd like to ask outside of that, please do. But all students are going to take one GE course or a major specific course during their first and second semester on campus. These programs are just 1 year long. So outside of that, you also take an arts and science course. And within that, we do a lot of workshops, we do events, we do different trips that are all related to the learning community or specifically your major. So pretty much every course that you have is going to go towards graduation. It's going to go towards your gen ed. For students that have, more rigorous, like I know, for instance, sometimes our nursing majors, we make accommodations for, we work out any major conflicts. But most of the time, every course that we're enrolling you in is going to be something that's going to help you towards graduation. The difference with our learning community courses is you're taking it with a a faculty member that works with those individuals in the program. They would meet with someone like me or a new person that will be hired in the summer that will connect and talk, about how the students are doing. They have kind of that round support inside and outside of the classroom. That faculty might be at some of the events that we have in our evenings, our weekends, or even, throughout the semester. And then Through that, we make sure that you're connected with a staff member. So if you are in some of the learning communities, you might have me as an academic success coach where I will be instructing that arts and science course. So you'll see me once a week. The best way I can explain that arts and science course is if you've ever been in some sort of club or organization, you usually have a required meeting time. Instead of me requiring you to come at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday or 7 o'clock on a Thursday when you're ready to get home, we put it into your schedule and you get a credit out of it. So you would come, we would have either a workshop that might be professional development, we might have a guest speaker in, and we have quite a bit, like specifically for our engineering, we might have people come in and talk about internships and how to get involved. And I'll talk more about that too on each individual slide. And then we engage in different activities and experiences. So there's quite a few photos on here. You'll get to see some of the things that we've done. And I'll kind of talk a little bit more about those photos, but we have one that we're calling, it was our International Earth Day, but we're calling it Dirt and Dessert now. So we are having, students get together to celebrate spring where we're planting succulents, we're painting the pots, we're eating food, and we're enjoying being outside together. We have other events like our pumpkin painting event. We have, a potluck style one in November where students get together and they get to bring a dish from their family background, their culture, or a dish they just really enjoy. And we all get to connect and share the food that we like. And it's a great event. But there are tons more. Like we've gone to art museums, we've gone to a Black violin concert, and we're always constantly changing based off student needs every year because we do surveys each year to make sure that we're meeting the incoming students' needs as well as our current student needs too. So now we're on our Buckeye Generation Learning Community slide. So our Buckeye Generation Learning Community is the one that I've actually been involved with the longest while I've been here on the Newark campus. But it was created in 2012, so it is our oldest learning community on the Newark campus. We do have 60 first generation college students, and that is what the program was designed for. So to be first generation, it means that neither biological parent could have received a bachelor's degree to be a part of the program. So if that applies to you, make sure you pay extra special attention to this next slide. So with our Buckeye Generation Learning Community, and we call it the BGLC, so I might refer to it as that. You do get one-on-one support and connections with faculty and staff through the major. So like I said, you would have those 2 GEs, one in the fall, one in the spring, and then you would take an arts and science course with me in the fall and then one in the spring. We do a lot of just getting you connected on campus. We help with your transition to the Columbus campus if that's your plan. Like I said, well, like Ginger had said at the beginning, a lot of majors can be completed at the Newark campus, but most of you are going to have to transition to the Columbus campus at some point. So we try to make sure we make that seamless as possible. We do a trip there. We connect you with anyone that you might need to talk to on the Columbus campus and make sure that you're getting all the support that you need to feel comfortable and at ease when you're making that transition in your second, third year, whatever it might be. There is a $500 academic scholarship attached to this program too, which is an awesome perk. So how this is applied is we would give you 250. So fall semester, you'd get that 250. Spring semester, you'd get 250. And then you can utilize that in the bookstore. Students can buy, some students have bought tablets, they buy their textbooks. We have students who at the end, they still have money left over and have bought water bottles, headphones, things that they just need that make their semester a little bit easier while they're commuting around on campus and they're getting from class to class. And then courses are taken together as a cohort. So it allows for that, like I mentioned kind of earlier, that learning environment that is very unique and special. One of the things that I did not get during my first year, although like the Newark campus is very small, with a learning community, instead of walking into a class and not really knowing the instructor as well from the get-go or all the students within the class, you walk into at least 2 of those classes that you have in your first and second semester, and you know pretty much everyone within that class and you're getting that support. Like I said, the faculty you would see inside the classroom, but also outside the classroom. So it's kind of breaking that barrier of sometimes it's a little intimidating, especially as first generation college students, to be able to feel that comfortability to walk up and have that personal connection, but you get that, which is also a great resume builder and builds those connections later on in life. So our next one is our Scarlet and Gray Excellence Learning Community. This is actually a picture that we do a trip every single fall in September. So kind of right after the semester starts, just Stone Lab. I'm over there on the right side. So this is a few years ago. But this program started in 2018. Our students, we are interested in recruiting are ones that want to focus on leadership skills. They want to be involved in curriculum that kind of considers different cultures, realities, and immerses within that. So the purpose of this program, like I kind of mentioned on the last slide, but we are going to be focusing on immersing you in a multicultural curriculum that's reflective of all sorts of cultures, all sorts of realities. And we want to make sure that students feel supported and they have a sense of belonging on campus and respect for differences. So if this is something that you're passionate about in high school, or maybe you didn't have that opportunity in high school, but you're really interested in getting involved, depending on like your major, your own personal interests, this would be a really great program for you. One of the classes that they're taking right now in the spring semester is a sociology course. So they're learning about all different perspectives, and getting to, debate each other, talk to each other. They're all actually working on a group project right now. And so they'll be presenting on that together at the end of the semester. So benefits with this program, similar to the BGLC, our Scarlet and Gray Excellence Learning Community, also known as SAGE, it has that one-on-one support and connections with the faculty and staff through the major. I mentioned we go to Stone Lab in September, so that's another photo on the left where our students are on a boat and they're catching little minnows and learning all about different mud in Lake Erie, and how it supports our ecosystem. But our faculty that students take in this fall, which would be environmental science, which counts towards one of your natural sciences, GEs, I believe, that would be something that that instructor would go with you on. So we do an overnight trip. It's on the weekend. That counts as one of our experiential trips, and it has a lot of hands-on learning. I would say out of all the learning communities, having this overnight trip definitely makes our students a lot closer because they're getting that experience of being on a bus for 2 hours, getting on a ferry. The Miller Ferry is what we take, and then they get to do overnight. We get to spend time on the island, not just hearing, different things about the island, but they have downtime at the end where we have a bonfire by the lake. We get to socialize. It's a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite trips. The island's a little bit creepy, but it kind of makes it fun for a good story when you get back. And then there is a $500 scholarship attached as well. So this one works similar to the BGLC one, where we do divide it between 250 per semester. So students would be able to use that for any textbooks they might need, laptops, tablets, whatever that they can find within the bookstore that would be able to make that their semester a little bit easier on them. And then we do have academic peer coaches. So we call them our peer mentors that I have a slide on later that I'll emphasize a little bit more, but they plan social and cultural events for all of our students within the program to be able to build those connections inside and outside of class. And then our curriculum takes having that curriculum, like I mentioned, walking inside the class and being able to know everyone within the program. We have that as well within our SAGE learning community and fulfilling all those GE requirements for majors. And then we do have the support for the transition to the Columbus campus as well. So our Global Citizens Learning Community, this one started in 2020. So these are going to be 40 first-year students interested in global citizenry. And then I'll tell you a little bit more on the next slide about it. So with our purpose, what we're looking for is students who want to learn about global interconnectedness, or they have already, really been interested in that previously and they want to get more involved while they get into college. This would be a really good program. Ginger had mentioned education abroad. So if that's something that applies to you where you're interested in that, this would be a good program to apply for. So students gain an understanding of different cultures and countries through cross-cultural conversations and engage in a world community. So the benefits of this program, we have the opportunity to engage in global experiences, assisting with advancement in major future career. So one of the things right now that they're doing, they are taking a course through our French and Italian department. So it's called FRET, but what they're doing right now is pretty cool because they get to meet with students across to Mexico, and they're getting to interview them, see what life is like, what are some of the cultural differences, and just learn about other cultures in general, and kind of have those conversations in class. And then we get to engage in joint activities with other countries too. We've had a few students from other classes from other countries join us where we've had students get to talk to one another, and we just will normally organize some sort of discussion across the students, and students really seem to enjoy that within our class. And we do that in arts and science class. And then we have one-on-one support and connections with faculty through mentoring. So like I said, right now I oversee this program, so we would be working with that faculty member, checking in on students. One of the nice things, and I know too for parents, me being a parent myself, that I enjoy is you always have someone that's going to be supporting you within campus. So if you are missing classes, you're having things that are going on outside of class, you can count on your faculty member is going to recognize that in the learning community. I might recognize that as your academic success coach, and we can chat with one another. We make sure we support you, and that communication's kind of seamless. So making sure that you're successful in any way that you can be. Students do receive priority consideration for our education abroad trips. So if you do apply, we have a list that we send out, and all that's done through the Columbus campus where you would have that priority consideration. And then courses taken together as a cohort to make sure that you're getting those GE requirements, but you're also having that with students within the same learning community. And then one of our newest changes right now, so for those of you who might have already applied or you might have already seen our website, we have recently created a change with our scholarship program. So we are looking into an overnight experiential trip for our whole learning community, similar to our Scarlet and Gray Excellence Learning Community. Because of the success that we've had and the funding that we have, we are looking to take all 40 students on an overnight trip this upcoming fall or spring semester. So if you do apply, more information will be told. Look into that, but I am currently looking into some different ideas right now, and I'm excited to see what we can come up with for this upcoming year. And then we do have, again, the support for the transition to the Columbus campus as well. So now we're going to go ahead and get into more of our major specific learning communities. We've had a few different changes as well with some of our programs. So learning communities, with our education, teaching, and learning community, I used to work as a liaison, but starting this upcoming year, I will also be overseeing this program. So you would still have that GE that you would take in the fall and spring semesters, and you'd also take arts and sciences with me as well. So this program started in 2016. It's a little smaller, so it's 30 students. We actually do a lot of our recruitment over the summer, and we recommend if you're starting in any of these education majors listed on here that you start in our education, teaching, and learning community. So benefits with this program, you do have that one-on-one support and connections with your faculty member, your staff member that you'd be working with, which would be me, and an academic peer coach through that first year. There's a $200 academic scholarship, which is similar to that BGLC and SAGE one, where it's split between both semesters. This one, you get $100 in the fall and then $100 in the spring to use towards any resources that might help you through your first year. And then we have planned social and cultural events that focus on specifically any education things or like topics that might be helpful for you. That way you can make sure you're building those strong connections through your major and with your faculty. And then workshops to help facilitate learning and personal growth. So through our arts and science program, that's where I mentioned, bring in special guests to come and talk to you. So that way you can build up that resume and build those connections early on. One of the things I think is one of the most important things in college is making sure you have tons of connections. Everyone you meet on campus, including your peers, is going to be a connection that might be someone who offers you your first job, or there's an opportunity that comes up, or scholarships, all of those things. If you are involved on campus, having those connections is really powerful. And then courses taken together. So you would take several. So I think for our TLC, and I would have to actually go back and double check on this, but I think 3 courses in the fall and then 3 courses in the spring, all of those are required for your education major. So If you're within that major or any of our learning communities that are major specific, you are not going to take a course that is not going to help you towards graduation. And it's even better because, like I said, you're having that faculty member within the program. They have studied education themselves, and they can make sure that they are there to support you along the way, as well as the students who are going through the program for the first time, too. So our engineering learning community, I've overseen this program for several years, but I will be kind of giving it to our new person that will be coming in the spring just because it makes sense with how our learning community topics are. So these last three that I'll be going over will be overseen by our new person that will be coming in this summer. But our engineering learning community was created in 2014. And it's 40 students. Sometimes that rises up to 42. So this program is pretty competitive, and I would say a lot of students who are starting in engineering on the Newark campus try to get in this program because you are guaranteed that you're going to take 1181, 1182, which I believe is going to be more on the next slide. I'll talk a little bit more about. So the purpose with this is we are going to have anyone who is engineering or pre-engineering majors within this program. This is going to really have an emphasis on getting you involved in your major early on. We want you to make those connections early on. If you are considering engineering, you might know it's a very competitive field. So being able to go to different tours, be connected with, your engineering advisors on the Columbus campus early on builds that kind of support that you really need to get and be successful on the Columbus campus during your second year. So courses, like I said, you would be taking this first year required courses for all engineering majors. So each engineering major needs to take 1181 and 1182. 1181 is a 3 credit hour course, which has our first year foundation course kind of attached to that. It's the EXP course. And then 1182 would be in the spring semester. So each of those you need before you can apply for your major if you are in that pre-engineering. All of them are needed for graduation. And then you do take that arts and science course that I just mentioned that I would be instructing, but we'd have our new person instruct that course where we invite engineering professionals to come in. We do engineering related activities and things like that within that program or within that course. So benefits with this program, we have connections with engineering professionals in the field. So we actually just had EMH&T come out this past fall, and then students were able to sit down, hear a little bit more about, I know specifically they're hiring for civil engineers, but they're open to other engineering professions as well. And what they had, they enjoyed our group so much that they actually emailed us after they presented in the fall and offered to have some of our students just come in and shadow and sit one-on-one with those engineers and have more conversations and build those connections. So we had a few students take them up on that offer, and they really enjoyed their time being able to have that more personalized conversation with the professional engineer within that's currently working in our community. We also go on different trips. So one of the things that we've done in the fall and this year will be in our spring semester is we go to the Center for Automotive Research through Ohio State, and that's on the Columbus campus where students can hear a little bit more about what they're doing there, how they different majors that they're hiring, how they're connected with Honda, and how they're testing different vehicles and different things like that. And then career-based experiential learning trips off campus for that hands-on experience. So like I mentioned, CAR is one of those trips that we go on. We've also gone to other places. So this past fall, we just did a tour of the Columbus campus, but specifically the College of Engineering. So we had people from all over as far as like anything engineering related. Students were able to talk to current students. They were able to talk to engineering faculty. They were able to see some of those labs on campus and be able to see like what they're going to be getting into during that second year, what they can look forward to, and different clubs and things like that that are all related to make sure that they enhance that. And then we do the one-on-one support within that major as well. So the instructor that has overseen the foundations for 1181 and 1182 all have worked really closely with our academic success coaches to make sure that students are being successful. She is on top of it and she knows exactly what she's doing. So students usually have a really good time within that class working on some of the things like MATLAB, their projects for the spring semester, and they do a lot of group work within that program too. And then we do make sure that you have that guaranteed enrollment in those first year programs too. So Newark campus, we have a few sections of that 1181 and 1182, but it is not guaranteed that you're going to get into that if you're starting in engineering during that first year on campus. So making sure that if you are in the program, you already have that and you're going to be enrolled in it no matter what. We have two different sections where students are split in half. So there's going to be 20 to 21 students within those courses. So it's a small class, which makes it even better for you all. And then courses are being taken together too, so making sure that you're getting all of those needs met. And then support for the transition to the Columbus campus as well, which is really important within that engineering major to make sure you have those connections early on. And then our business learning community. So this one is actually brand new. So our learning community is starting this upcoming year. One of the things over the past several years with working with our learning communities, when I'm at a Buckeye preview day, for instance, and a student comes up and they're thinking about business as their major, they always ask me, is there a business learning community? And sadly, I've always had to tell them no. We've always had a cohort, but it hasn't had all the learning community factors as far as like the faculty and staff support, the academic peer mentors, the events, and the career specific activities that we plan. So now we officially do. Our campus has worked hard to make sure that it's happening. So we will have 60 first year students, and we are looking for accounting, financing, marketing, logistics, entrepreneurship, or any management majors. So the purpose of this program is make sure that we're strengthening your leadership abilities on campus. One of our business majors can be completed on the Newark campus too. So that kind of helps, you'll have that support on the Columbus campus, on the Newark campus within our business major. And then we make sure that you're building that professional identity from day one. So that way you know how organizations operate and how you'll fit into that. The benefits of this program, so making sure you have a strong connection to your major and your career early on. You will be able to know all about your business majors, careers that you can be able to apply for once you get to graduation or internships, and making sure you have that one-on-one support with faculty through mentoring. It does kind of give you I'd actually go back and say for all of our learning communities, one of the things I recommend all of our students do, and specifically right now for our students within a major, when you are making your resume or applying for any jobs or internships, putting that you're in a learning community on your resume would be a huge bonus. Because of this, they know that you're involved. They know that you took that extra action before you even started college to be involved in something because of these different characteristics and traits that you wanted within yourself to be able to grow that through a learning community. And then courses taken together. So similar to our other learning communities, making sure that you have that, and then individualized guidance and support from an academic peer coach as well as an academic success coach, and support to the Columbus campus if that's your plan. But like I mentioned, one of our majors can be completed on the Newark campus. And then lastly, our STEM learning community. This one just is also new. It had just started last summer. So this will be its second year, but this is 50 first year students in science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine majors. So the purpose with this program is making sure that we're helping students with having that established strong math foundation within their major. We want to make sure that we're getting students involved in experiential learning and being able to get involved early with the STEM field, and then building a network of STEM professionals within the workplace. So benefits within this program is making sure that you are involved in your STEM major and career. We're wanting to make sure that you have that smaller cohort. So we would have that 50 students and we would divide them. So it'd be 25 and 25 students starting in Math 1050 or Math 1075 based off of like what your math placement test score would be this upcoming I think it would be opening in April. And then courses taken together as a cohort with an embedded peer tutor within the classroom, which is a huge bonus. So with a lot of our embedded peer tutors, some of them you might have in just non-learning community classes, but having it within your STEM and learning community courses or those courses that are needed for your major is a huge bonus because not only are you having an embedded tutor where they're in your class, but they're also someone that you can reach out through GroupMe, or you are having them, via events, and you're having that more one-on-one support within just not in the classroom, but also outside the classroom. And then it helps establish a strong math foundation. So with this emphasis on the math courses and the STEM and major, we're making sure that those faculty are supporting you as much as possible. If you're like me, I was not huge on math in college, so this would have been a great program if I went the STEM M route to make sure that I have someone who is checking in on me, who is talking with that staff member that oversees the program, and they're making sure I have everything to be successful so I can complete the major that I want. And then connecting students with experiential opportunities and hands-on learning within the STEM and careers. So they've had a few different things happen. I know they actually had Children's Hospital out this past fall, and I know there is a lot more to come during our second year after we've kind of brainstormed and come up with things. Some of our staff members in the office currently are working really hard to make sure those things are all possible this upcoming year. And then support to the transition with the Columbus campus as well. So I mentioned several times throughout each of our slides, all of our learning communities offer academic peer coaches. So I mentioned as well that I was an academic peer coach while I wasn't in a learning community. It was something that I did within my second year on campus. When we are hiring for academic peer coaches, these are someone who are students themselves, but they're someone who's been actively involved. They've showed that they've been resilient, they've been connected on campus with faculty, staff, that they are getting pretty much their hands in anything that they can do to be successful. And there's someone that has done it so well themselves while not necessarily saying that they have not had their struggles, but they've overcome those things, or they've been in a program themselves that they are there to support you in any way that you need on campus. We have those students they are planning different events for you to be able to be successful on campus, just to have that support. I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation that students that are involved in extracurricular activities, we know have higher GPAs and graduation rates. So a lot of our events, that is the kind of sole purpose behind that, is not only are we just getting together to paint a pot and add a succulent in it, or do pumpkin painting, or some of our backyard bash activities where we do s'mores and outdoor games and all of those things. While they might seem like it's just kind of to relax and things, it's really all about connections and making sure that you're getting the support. So our academic peer coaches are kind of that sole purpose of making sure those things happen, and they are awesome at it, and they've done it really successfully every year. But they're also someone, if you don't necessarily feel comfortable going to a staff or a faculty or someone on campus, they're that peer support that you have when you have a question, or you just need to know, like, okay, where's some cool places to hang out around the Newark area? Or where is the go-to study spot on campus? Or, hey, I had a rough day and I just want to chat. Can we go get some coffee? And just between all of us, they do get money to be able to purchase you coffee on campus. So if you ever need that, they are there for, just having that individual talk or someone that you can go to. So they are highly trained too. We do a lot of training throughout the year, throughout the summer, and they get that supplemental instruction training too. So each of those GE courses I mentioned for each of those programs, they host the supplemental instruction. So similar to tutoring, but it's more of that peer support, where you would go and you can attend weekly, and you get extra credit out of it for a lot of the courses that you're in, but you can kind of have that emphasis on the course material or get tips and tricks. Those peer coaches are actually meeting with the faculty members once a week, so they can hear kind of that insider scoop of what are students struggling with and what can we focus on, or what are some outside resources we didn't get to in class that we can focus on within this study table. And then I had already mentioned a lot of that training and experience, but we're really looking for strong individuals for that to make sure that you're supported completely through that first year. So here's just some really cool photos. Ginger had mentioned too, our campus had service learning. We just this week in our arts and science course, we are working on service learning as well. So some of these photos on here are the things that we've done. One year we went to a farm in Granville that works with individuals that have developmental disabilities, and we cleaned up the farm. We have this past week, we decided we are going to make goodie bags for our campus pantry. And then we also made a video that will be posted to the Ohio State Newark Instagram page here soon. So if you see some of our students on there, we were just looking to spread kindness, positivity, and things like that. So they were able to make a video through marketing that'll be posted maybe sometime this week or next week. I'm not quite sure when. So lots of things that we've done. The students are really well connected, and we know, and I know one of our staff members, Macy, who's on here, has just pulled a lot of data recently, and I thank her for that, because we know, again, that through research, students involved in the learning community have higher GPAs and graduation rates over the years. So these are very successful programs, and you're going to get a lot out of them if you decide to apply. So to apply, all of our learning communities are posted go.osu.edu/NewarkLC. Students who apply will by May 1st get that. And then students who within certain programs apply by that April 1st or May 1st deadline will receive that $500 scholarship in some of those programs. Our Buckeye Generation Learning Community, our engineering, Scarlett and Greg, Global Citizens, Education Teaching. We had Ohio Mean Science, but that needs to have our business and STEM, so I apologize for that mistake. But each of those have that u.osu.edu/ with the learning community on there as well. So you can go to each of those websites and see more, but I would suggest going up to that top one where you're going to be able to see all of them and access those websites and the individual applications. It is one application, so once you click on it, you'll be able to put information in, and then it will direct you to an application that specifically might be what would be suggested for you, or if you already know which one you want to apply for, you'd be able to access that through that application online. So that is the end of my presentation. I really appreciate all of you staying on and listening, and hopefully I can answer some of those questions if I didn't already. But our email, it's newarklearningcommunities@osu.edu, and then this is our office number. We are constantly monitoring that, so if you have any questions at any time that don't get answered this afternoon, come up later, feel free to reach out to that. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ashley. Tracy or Macy, are there any questions on the chat that either Ashley or myself can answer that you did not get a chance to answer?
At this time, there's no questions for Ginger or Ashley. We still have a few moments if anyone wants to drop something in the Q&A, but at this point, there are no questions.
Well, we'll give about another minute here to see if anybody has any questions for us. One thing while I'm kind of waiting on that I did not necessarily mention in my part is that just remember, even though you are at a regional campus for Ohio State, you are still an Ohio State student. So you get all the perks of being on the Columbus campus. You can be involved in things on the Columbus campus, even though you are a Newark student. So just keep that in mind as well. It's not just Newark, you are still an Ohio State Buckeye. You will still graduate with that diploma. You will still graduate from the shot or the shoe. So, just keep that in mind as well. So even though we're small here, I think the starting out small, especially and being in those learning communities, as Ashley said, if you are going to Columbus, will help you better prepare to be on that Columbus campus. So, well, it looks like that we don't have any more chat. So if not, then we will say goodnight and thank you for being with us. We appreciate your attendance tonight. And again, if you have questions for either of us, please reach out to our offices and we'll be glad to help.